Good afternoon. We would like to begin.
Sure.
Uh, for the introduction, we have Mr. Daksh Sethi with us. With excellent leadership qualities and several years of experience in team management, Mr. Daksh Sethi is an exponent of motivational speaking. He has emerged as a promising entrepreneur, soft skill trainer, public speaker, and a mentor. He is a concoction of self motivation and organized attitude who loves to take the bull by the horns. Mr. Daksh Sethi is the founder of Cubby Rogers, which caters to the needs of the students and professionals seeking personal and career guidance. Mr. Sethi, apart from covering a plethora of topics in the webinars and workshop, has also conducted numerous live sessions on body language training, confidence building, GD, and PI preparation, professional training across the country. Mr. Sethi has impacted more than 4,500 lives in more than 25 sessions of more than 100 hours of public speaking. He is a dedicated being who brings positive change in the world, accompanied by variant personalities and problem solving attitudes, stimulates a long lasting self evaluating effect in the audience's mind. We would like to welcome Mr. Daksh Sethi with a round of applause, which I guess we cannot have in the online session. So let's welcome Mr. Daksh Sethi.
Thank you, Kushi. Thank you for that lovely introduction. I'll just request everybody to turn their cameras on. This is not a podcast. And the last person I want to look at is myself talking. So I'll just request everybody to turn their cameras on. This is definitely going to be an interactive session, and I need everybody to keep the cameras on. Yeah, I'll just request very quickly, very quickly. We're not wasting time at all. Cameras to be on as soon as possible. Yes, hi Kushi. Very quickly, everybody. Very quickly. Also, in the meantime, I would also request everybody to, also in the chat box, to mention their educational background. Are you in college? Are you in school? If yes, which class are you in? What course are you doing? Or if you're in college, then which college you're in, and which course you're doing, and probably which year you are in. Very quickly in the chat box, cameras on very quickly. We won't be wasting time. A couple of very important issues, important topics to be spoken about. We'll be getting on to the point straight away. Rule number 1 for my session is going to be ask questions. So I will be allowing you to turn your microphones on. All right, Plash, I do see the lovely view of the beach, but I don't see you. Rather confusing as to where you are there. So I'll just request everybody to turn their cameras on and not the view of a beach. Certainly something that we are definitely missing out on today. Sitting at home. Yes, this is not a podcast. I would request everybody to turn their cameras on and also to mention which class and which course you are in, so that I have a better understanding as to who I'm talking to. And the cameras will be on so that I know who I'm talking to. Apart from that, all right, hi Ria, hi Yatharth. We have hi Gunjan. Very quickly. Also, please mention in the chat box, if you're allowed to type it out, please keep the settings to everyone so that everybody can type it out and I know who I'm talking to and what the background is. Like I said, rule number 1 will be to ask as many questions as possible. So the chat box is going to be at your disposal and I need you to be asking as many questions as possible. Can I please have everybody mention their class and their college and the course, if there is any? I would really want to know that. I just want to know who I'm talking to and what your background is. Yeah, very quickly. Can we have that? Kushi, if you could just tell me what the mix. All right. We have BMS second year. Who are the rest? Can I have the rest in as well? All right, BTech third year. Final year Eco honors. All right. Great. BMS third year. All right. College. So we just cater to the college students as of now. Do we have school students here? Khushi, can you just very, very quickly tell me? You can turn your microphone on, tell me.
Yes, sir. We have some school students here, and I'm
All
not
right.
sure if they have turned their camera on, but we have
All
some
right,
school
fair enough,
students.
fair enough. Fair enough, fair enough. So yeah, I would also like to thank Harivansh and the entire Baywise team. I think it's a pretty interesting concept, and we've been planning this out for quite some time now. You've been in touch with me, and I feel that the communication has been flawless. So I would want to congratulate you on the entire conceptualization of this project, and of course the execution. Fair enough. All right. So we'll be moving on to something very, very important. We'll be talking about GDPI preparation and body language training. Now, body language training is all right. So Tanvi has cleared class 12th. All right. Looking forward to your college admission in that case. Fair enough. So body language training is something which is actually a part of your GDPI preparation. GDPI stands for Group Discussion and Personal Interview Training. Let me tell you one thing. Whether you're in college, whether you're coming out of school, the importance of your body language, the importance of how you sit in a group discussion and how you present yourself in a personal interview, the importance of these three has increased multifold times because of this lockdown. And I want to lay emphasis on the word multifold. The importance, the depth of which is required. Recruiters today have a buffet of candidates out there. It's a buffet. And by a buffet, I mean that they can literally ask anybody to join their organization who they find right at whatever pay scale they want to give them and have them on board. And candidates are okay, perfectly fine, or rather desperate to get into any organization which they feel right at any pay scale given to them. It is happening out there. This is the true reflection of the job scenario. It's a sad state of affairs, but it's extremely competitive. I don't know how many of you are facing this. I've been interacting with close to 5,000 students. I've been interacting with them for the last 2 to 3 months, and it's actually increasing. The intensity of the competition is increasing now. अभी थोड़ा सा जोश है सब में. Everybody is getting back to offices. Everybody is getting back to that work mode. Everybody is getting back to the normal routine. But there is an aftermath of COVID, which is still going to come. And what recruiters today are looking at, and that includes myself, since I also have an organization, I recruit people for my organization. And what they look for today are two things. They look for a positive aspect and they look for a negative aspect. The positive aspect is on your LinkedIn profile. So every recruiter today is going to ask for your LinkedIn profile, wants to know what your professional approach to life is and what have you done during the lockdown period. It just shows your maturity and attitude towards life. And the negative aspect is on your social media pages, so your Facebook and Instagram. So even they are being asked for by the recruiters, and they'll be looking at it and probably judging you as to what your social life looks like. The mix of these two is where you are either selected or rejected. They don't want, recruiters today do not want somebody who is extremely casual after work, for the simple reason that eventually you will be amongst people. There will be an informal conversation with people. You will not be in your suit throughout office hours. There will be social times. You will be interacting with people in an informal basis. That is how people work. That is how organizations work. And your social side will tell the recruiter today whether or not you are okay to be a part of that group or not. And recruiters want to know that. Your professional side, which is on LinkedIn today, is going to tell them whether your professional attitude is correct or not. Having said that, when you sit right in front of them, giving a group discussion and a personal interview, presenting yourself, they are able to understand both the things right there and then. So they will now be averaging out your scores depending upon your social and your professional networking platforms and your group discussion and personal interviews. So it's a different ball game now. It's a different scenario altogether. LinkedIn is going up. So LinkedIn is very, very important. And your social media platforms, your Instagram and your LinkedIn, your personal side is also being tracked. And you have no option but to share your profiles. It's happening in the best of organizations. Why? Because during this lockdown period, you have either made the most of your time or have wasted time. and they want to know that. Having said that, GDPI will always have a better advantage. It will always have carry that extra weightage of marks and percentage. Today, it's happening on an online system. There are online GDs being conducted. I'm training students and professionals across the country. I know exactly where the loopholes are. It is happening. Yes, it is possible. It's a tedious task. I'll be very honest about it. It's unlike the physical format, but it's happening. And you are being judged through this rectangle piece of screen that I can see. That is all that I judge you on. If your mic goes off, if your network cracks, there's a higher chance that you're not going to be selected. So even your network, your Airtel or your Jio connection is also going to be responsible to an extent. I just want you to keep doing your homework on those lines as well. So no matter how good you are, if your network connection is not good on the day, on the D-Day, it's not going to work well for you. Having said that, your interviews are being conducted online, personal interviews. So the physical interaction which used to be there has now moved on to this rectangle, whether it's a portrait mode or a horizontal mode, it's going to be judged on the basis of this and on the basis of what you say. What is it that the recruiters are going to be looking for? When you sit in a group discussion, the word discussion is actually the catch. It is actually not a discussion. It is just understanding group dynamics. So as a recruiter, as a moderator, when I tell 12 people or 10 people sitting in front of me in a semicircle or on this online system, and I tell them that, boss, this is the topic given to you. You have 10 minutes, 8 minutes to talk and 2 minutes to wind up. I am going to be judging you not on what you are saying. I will be judging you on how you say it and how you interact with the remaining 11 or 10 people around you. I want to know, how do you behave in a group? It's group behavior, it's group dynamics. It is not a discussion. I do not care about your opinion. A hot topic today for a group discussion is India ready for electric vehicles? This is a hot topic. It's also environmentally friendly. Shivam, that's exactly what I was coming to. So the topic today is, I'm just giving an example. Is India ready for electric vehicles? Or Article 377, 371, 370. There are so many articles in the news. There is one topic thrown at you, right? And all that you get into is in this mode, in this zone of to put my point across, which is actually the correct opinion. That is the problem, the first problem that you face. Why? Yes, this is exactly why an abstract topic is given, so that there's a lot to talk about and you have both pros and cons. There's a for and against. So this is not an abstract topic, to be honest. This is not an abstract. To be honest, today the group discussions are more generic. A lot more specific. What I mean by a lot more specific is that it's going to be a trending topic, a hot topic in the news, and that is what you will be given. So an abstract an abstract topic such as, what is the sky blue in reality? So according to physics, it's not, but what you actually see is blue. What you see at night is black. At different times of the year, you see it at different colors. That's an abstract topic, but in reality, it's nothing but black, right? So it's an abstract topic, right? Everybody has their own perspective. That is not what is going to be asked today. Things have changed. Things have actually moved on, and you need people who have good general knowledge and how they perceive, because most of these topics are going to be controversial in their own way. They can be political, and that is where you either get caught or trapped in your own worlds, in your own judgment, you're for or against of that topic. And that is exactly why GDs are now consisting of such topics. Let me just come back to the point. Let's say, for example, your topic is India ready for electric vehicles? Now, to be very honest, so I see Khushi, I see Ria, I see Gunjan. The three of you can have three different opinions. You can have all three for, all three against, two for, one against. The permutation combinations can be used. The point is that if I have to recruit the three of you and you come to my organization tomorrow to work, you will not be discussing electric vehicles in my organization. All right. It is just your understanding of a topic. It's your perspective of an issue, it's an opinion of whether something should be done or not, which is what I want to see, and how you actually put it across to the people around you. Because a difference in opinion will always remain. Whether you're in an organization, whether you're in school, whether you're in college, at home, in your family members, there will always be a difference in opinion in some way or the other. But it's how you deal with it is what I want to know. Are you aggressive in putting your point across? Are you dominating? Are you reluctant to? You don't want to listen to the other person? Do you get, is your ego hurt when somebody's not agreeing with you? Or are you okay with switching opinions very, very quickly? Or do you take everybody else together? You want to put your point across, but also listen to the rest. So I want to know how you will behave in a group and not what your opinion is. Now, what Shivam, if I'm not wrong, Shivam, yes, will the context matter? It definitely will. It cannot mean that you know nothing about what electric vehicles are and about this topic and what Tatas and Olas are doing. Your GK has to be on priority. So you must know your topic. So to say that you will go unprepared or underprepared rather to your group discussion is not what I'm saying at all. You need to know what is happening in the news. You need to know what's happening around you. And today, you know, if you're at home, you ought to know what is happening around. Because if you don't know your GK, if you're not reading the news, it's going to reflect very, very quickly. Your opinions will be shallow. So that is also a reflection of whether you are actually paying attention to what is happening around or not. But ultimately, what I mean to say is that it's not your opinion. It is what and how you carry it. It's how you put it across and how you carry it in a group. So you can't be aggressive. You cannot be, the conversation cannot be just between 3 or 4 people. Are you aware of the fact that the conversation is between only 4 and 5 people, or in just one corner of the group discussion of the group, and the rest are not interacting at all? Because usually that happens. Not everybody will be interacting at the same time. So do you interfere? Do you put your point across and are also aware that others have to be taken into consideration? The moment you do that, the recruiter knows that this candidate not only is putting their point across, but is also aware that there are others who have to have their opinions put across as well. So that leadership quality is going to reflect. I have a question in the chat box, but so at any given point in time, one cannot know all aspects of what is happening in the world. For people often read and pay attention to their interest topics. Khushi, that's a pretty interesting question. But I'll tell you what, it's not going to be, so you will never get a topic which is very, very specific, and there are there's a higher probability that you won't know the topic. I'll give you a reason. So somebody's from BMS, somebody's from BCom, somebody just passed class 12, somebody's from Eco Honors. You will always have a mix, all right? But that topic will actually be a generic topic because you want people to talk on it. If there is a good candidate, genuine candidate, who may or may not know something about a very, very specific topic, I'm actually losing out on that candidate. So I will always put a point across, a topic across, which people can talk on. I need 10 people to talk on that topic for 10 minutes. And that is what, as a recruiter, I will do. It's my responsibility to do that. It cannot be a specific. I'm not questioning you. I'm not testing your GK. That's not what I mean to say. But I need to know how you actually behave when you know something, which you should be knowing technically. So it has to be a pretty basic. So like I said, is India ready for electric vehicles? Electric vehicles has been in the news for the last 3-4 years, and it's a hot topic. I mean, you have Tesla. Tesla is now saying that we are getting into the Indian market next year. I mean, these are things that you should do, right? Having said that, I'm not talking about a particular article in the Constitution which is too specific for an Eco Honors student or a BCom Honors student to know. So that's not what my point is. Having said that, I need to know that in a group discussion, are you okay with putting your point across, accepting a difference in opinion, and be okay with it? Because the moment you become aggressive, the moment you start proving your point over and over again, which means that you will never come to a consensus, and that is not healthy for my company. Remember, this group discussion, nobody's going to remember after 10 minutes. It's not the point. The point is not electric vehicle. The point is not about your opinion. but your attitude and your behavior on a topic which you may disagree to. And if a similar topic or a similar situation arises in my organization, I'm doomed, because that team will never come to a consensus. And you will always be in a team. And that is why a group discussion comes before a person interview. I want to know how you behave with others before I want to uh, before I want to talk to you personally. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask me that question. You have the chat box as well. Hi, Manveer, you have turned your camera on. I'll just request everyone to keep the cameras on. It's going to be a pretty interesting conversation. Yes, do I have questions? Do I have questions? Also, when you're on an online system, there is going to be this lag in the synchronization of your video and your audio, which is also something that you have to take care of. You have to be smart enough that there is a lag because of internet connectivity, and that is why what you are saying may come across later than your video, and vice versa. So it's important that if you are actually putting your point across, or have to interrupt somebody to do that, it happens in such a manner that there are not too many people talking at the same time. Otherwise, what the recruiter is going to do is the recruiter will then say, all right, stop, you say, and that you may not be you, could be somebody else, and that is where you lose your chance. So you have to be very smart that when you are interrupting somebody, there is a fraction of a second where there's a pause, and that is when you actually have to put your point across. In a physical format, it's very, very quick. Of course, internet takes that extra fraction of a second, which may actually pay against you. Somebody had turned their microphone on. Do you have a question?
Yes, I do have a question.
Surely.
I wanted to ask you, what were the red flags that we could avoid on our social media platforms, on our profiles, that could hamper our chances of getting a job?
That's a very good question. So I'll be very honest about it. I don't want to make a personal remark on this, that what is right and what is wrong, but I'll just tell you about my personal experience and what I look at. All right, as a recruiter, I don't want to generalize it at all. The first thing that really goes is, of course, your bio section. It could be, you could have a private account, you could have a public account, either way, but your bio speaks volumes in either cases, even on your LinkedIn profile, even on your WhatsApp, even on Instagram. Your bio section, the first thing that you put across is what will show me what your attitude looks like. The kind of English that you're using. We obviously use abbreviations, and instead of a YOU, you'll just simply write you. And to be honest, for a recruiter, that's very, very annoying. It's very, very irritating. The kind of language that you use, the way you are presenting that information, whatever you want to write, right? Whatever it is, but it has to be done in a proper manner. The language that you cannot use an abusive word there. Your display picture, right? Your display picture can also be something, where you. So I won't call it a red flag, but I'll call it a green flag, where I see a smart-looking woman or a man in that in that circle, which can also, I don't have to go through the profile. I'll just see that there is somebody who's smart enough, is trying to is appealing, is visually appealing, which is also very, very important, because eventually that is exactly what even is being judged during your interview. How do you dress up? What is your body language? How presentable are you? Do you have a clean shave? Is your beard trimmed to the right length? Do you have a haircut? These are things that are being observed. They are being observed, and they are always observed. So even on your social media platforms, it's important that you do not use abusive language. That is a no-no. If your profile is by any chance open, then the kind of descriptions on your photographs that you put, again, should not have too colloquial language. It can be colloquial to an extent, but we do take it lightly at times, and we want to we use words that in otherwise can actually pay against us. So those kind of words should definitely be avoided. And that's pretty much that is. I mean, we're not going to stalk you till the core, to your last post. That is not what the idea is. It's just to get a glimpse of what your social life looks like. Not to judge you at all. Like, we're not judging that ye galat hai ya ye sahi hai, but it's just to understand how you will actually socially interact with others. And that's the idea behind it. So it's like an okay or a no. That's how it is. We don't go too much in depth. Yeah. Any other question? It's happening. So this is a new thing that is happening. Facebook पे तो बहुत पहले से चलता आ रहा है ये. Facebook is usually used, and yes, most welcome, Shivam. Instagram today is of course being used more than Facebook. It's the next big thing after LinkedIn, and LinkedIn of course will tell you about your professional attitude. So are you active on LinkedIn? What are the kind of posts that you're posting on LinkedIn? Have you used your lockdown period to good effect? That is being judged. Shows your attitude. It's an attitude, because times are tough out there. Organizations are struggling. It's happening, and you will be getting into an organization, into a market which probably isn't doing too well, but are still going to be a part of it. So you need, that organization needs somebody who's self-motivated, who has that approach to life. So yes, it is being judged. Having said that, your body language. So let me just go through the body language aspect of a group discussion. And I will talking about, so there isn't much to judge on an online system during during a body language, during a group discussion, but in the physical format there's a lot. Chalo. So yes, to judge somebody on an online group discussion is going to be a little difficult. It's going to be a difficult task for the moderator, definitely, because firstly it's going to have a landscape mode, and 10 people are, the photographs and the videos are going to sort of shrink in size as compared to just 4 or 6. So that is a task. So of course you have to be as close as possible to the screen. Lighting has to be on your face, no unnecessary disturbances in the background. Camera at eye level, stable internet connectivity, a good microphone system is very, very important. Try to use a microphone, a headphone, a cabled headphone, rather than using your AirPods or something which runs on a chargeable battery. Because it usually happens that it runs out very, very quickly, and we don't realize that, and that is where the problem comes. So these are things which are happening. So I conduct mock group discussions, so I know exactly where these things go wrong. When the interview asks about the introduction, what actually we are supposed to say as it is the first impression. All right, +1, fair enough. I'll be talking about that as soon as I get to the interview part. We are still on the group discussion part. So if I talk about the physical format, yes, your body language probably plays the most important role in getting you selected. Of course, apart from your opinion and how you carry yourself. But yes, the way you sit. So if you're on the left-hand side, so there's a curve, right? There's a semicircle usually in front of the recruiter. If you're on the right-hand side of the recruiter, and if you're sitting cross-legged, then your left leg has to be on top of the right one. So what I basically mean to say is that the sole, the bottom part of your shoe should not be visible to the recruiter. It's a very foul gesture, and that is bad body language, and you must know that. You have to know that. So that is the first thing. That is the first thing that you do. You will be suited up. You will be geared up properly. You'll be wearing your suits. You'll be wearing your formal shoes. Everything has to be in order. You will be sitting like this. So you can just cross your hands like this and keep it on your knee or on your thigh. Very, very calmly, very, very formally, very, very maturely. Back straight. Try to sit right in the middle of the seat. All right, there is a question. But so aren't you supposed to not sit? No, absolutely not. There's nothing of that sort. Absolutely nothing. Irrespective of a girl wearing a skirt or not, whether you are wearing trousers or not, whether a man is wearing a suit or not, you absolutely can sit cross-legged. Absolutely no issue with that. But so you mentioned that body language matters the most, but what if the person very talented and have confidence, but also he has very informal body language? Will you hire him or her? So of course, I will be going through the group discussion first, and I will not recruit that person if he or she has a very bad body language. In today's time, let's not make it, I'm just giving you the reality out there. The first thing that anybody's going to look for is professionalism. Today, you will be interacting with clients. The team sizes have reduced. So the responsibility on you as a part of a team and as a part of an organization has actually increased. So the chances of you interacting with your client directly is actually now higher. And I will never, definitely never, no recruiter will go in for somebody who has a very laid back attitude, who can't even sit properly on a chair, probably uses colloquial language as and is informal in approach. Until unless you are a techie, have nothing to do with client interaction, and you are somebody who's going to sit on the laptop for 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours straight and do hardcore coding for softwares. Because that is not what you will be. So you will definitely not be interacting with clients, but I'm talking about BMS. You're talking about economics honors. You're talking about getting out of class 12. If you're getting into mainstream corporate, you ought to have a good body language. Professionalism is going to be a reflection of that. Having said that, yes, so you will be sitting properly with your arms. So you can keep your palms on your thighs, on both the thighs. You can keep them like this. Very, very calmly, very, you should not look conscious at all. Very, very comfortable the way you're sitting. You will then be also, all right, there is a question. How to deal with slugs in one's schedule such that doesn't reflect in the interview? I just want to be, I just want you to be a little more specific about this question. Has it ever happened with you? If you could give me an example. All right, it has happened with you. All right, Khushi, why don't you turn your microphone on and tell me about it?
Sure, sir. So the question is basically we often have a period of slump or slug where we aren't as productive. And if like generally happens with everybody, and if the interview lies between that period, how are we supposed to get over that slump or slug just such that it doesn't reflect in there?
All right. I can understand where it's coming from. And this is something, so firstly, let me tell you, it's not an excuse for a bad interview, for something that goes wrong. So it's all in your head. You either accept it or you deal with it. Just the two differences. If you are keen, if you have that attitude of cracking an interview, you just have to get into that zone that the moment I'm in an office, I'm in my room where I'm giving an interview, you have to zone out from everything else that is happening around you or to your body at that time. And that is where your mind comes in. Your mind will actually have to be on the dominating part. Trust me when I say this, it happens. I completely understand there are challenges. Everybody has challenges, physical challenges, mental challenges, family challenges. The day of your event, of your interview, you probably had a bad day on the road while getting to the interview. Anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. Murphy's law. When something has to go wrong, it will go wrong. And if that thing happens, you have to be smart enough. You have to be mature enough to zone out. You just zone out from whatever wrong has happened to get into the same zone that you would have been had those things not happened or not taken place. So it's your responsibility. It is your responsibility, and that is all that I can say. Since it's not a hard or fast rule there's no formula to it, but you have to zone out. You just have to forget everything for like half an hour, 45 minutes, and just get into that zone and crack that goddamn interview. That's your approach. Yeah, I hope that helps. Fair enough. Moving on. So yes, body language is going to play a very, very important role. You will be sitting properly, very, very professionally, very, very formally. Your hand gestures should not be too much. They should be very, very formal. You will never point at somebody. Never point like this. You will always keep your hand firm, your palm straight. All your fingers will be out, and whatever you want to do. So that is how it works. I wish I could have explained it a little better had I been in the physical presence, and we could have been in the same seminar hall or a room, and I could have explained it to you how it works. But yeah, nonetheless, it's very, very important for you to understand that body language is going to play a very, very important role. If you're giving an online group discussion, then there should be some amount of hand gesture, hand movement. Not too much, not too less either. It's important to move your hands. I'll be very honest about it. It shows confidence. Too much shows overconfidence and actually lack of confidence at times. That you don't know what you're saying and you're just compensating the lies and the underconfidence with too many hand gestures. It's part of psychology, and the recruiter knows that. And that's why it's very, very important to know. I'll also tell you one thing. So in a group discussion, let's say you have 10 people or 12 people, but there's only one person who's going to start the group discussion. Not everybody can start. And that is where, so there is a misconception that if you do not start a group discussion, aapka points cut jayega, ya you will not be selected. It's nothing of that sort. Out of 10 people, if one person starts, so are the rest of the 9 rejected? No, that's not how it works. It's what you say and how that person starts. It's very, very important that the moment you are starting, let's just keep this for example, that if you are starting off with, if you are the first speaker, firstly, the moderator is not going to tell you that, all right, you can start or something like that. It's not going to happen that way. There'll be a topic thrown at you and anybody is free to start. So for example, if you are starting, the first thing cannot be your opinion. You cannot say that, in my opinion, electric vehicles should not be introduced in India for XYZ reason. That is not how you start. You will first define the topic and you will talk to the remaining group members and not to the moderator. You'll be talking to the entire group. You'll be telling them, introducing the topic, or this is the topic for the group discussion. And electric vehicles has been in the news, and Tesla has also been doing this. Again, not your opinion, just introducing the topic, need of the hour perhaps. And in my opinion, electric vehicles should not be introduced in India for XYZ reason. You do not start with your opinion. Your opinion comes later. You first define the topic. Now, in case you are not the one who's starting this discussion, and there is this other person who started the group discussion, but started with their own opinion, then you counter it and you say that, all right, before moving on to our opinions, let's define the topic. And that is where you get an upper hand. And the moderator looks at you and says that, okay, he or she, whoever in this case would be, knows exactly what she's doing or whatever he's doing. They are in the group discussion. They are there for the team. Your point is up. Remember that. So you do not start with their opinion. All right. There is a question, but sir, the conclusion, if presented meticulously, can get some extra points, right? Shivam, that's only when I reach the conclusion part was when I'll be explaining that. मैं introduction की बात कर रहा हूँ, आप मेरे से conclusion के बारे में पूछ रहे हो. आने दो ना conclusion पे जरा मेरे को पहले. Let's go one at a time, right? We just introduced the topic first. Everyone will be sharing the presentation assignments at the end of the session. All right. Is that for me, Kushi? Is that for me? Do I have to submit an assignment or a presentation?
No, sir. We will be providing all the participants with a presentation and an assignment at the end of the video.
Perfect. You just put me into a fix. I was not expecting a surprise assessment presentation to make. Been a while since I made one. Anyway, so yes, so for a group discussion, yes, it's important not to put your point across straight. आप पहले दूसरे की बात भी सुनोगे. It's okay to join in later into the group discussion. It's always better. I would rather say that it's okay to join in a little late. When you've understood two perspectives, आपको पता है कि group discussion किस दिशा में जा रहा है, लोग कैसे बात कर रहे हैं, there will always be somebody who's dominating, who thinks that he or she is going to dominate the entire group, but that is not going to work that way. You don't want somebody who's an outright extrovert and does not care about what's happening with the rest of the team. That is not what the recruiter is there for. The recruiter is not recruiting a public speaker. They want somebody who can deal with the team. Remember that. So to talk and to be extremely vocal is not the plus point here. So while you're in the group discussion, you will always find this time where the group discussion is between 2 people or 3 people or 4 people and discussion wahin pe chal rahi hai. And that is when you actually interrupt and you say that, all right, these people haven't really interacted yet, and I would really want somebody from this side to also put their point across. Now, you haven't even said anything till now, but the recruiter knows that there is somebody who wants to equalize and to sort of get everything at a balance and to also get others involved in the group discussion. Now, when you start talking to them, when the other remaining, the people who you have just told about, you just asked to sort of pitch into the discussion, once they start talking, that is when you can also question them or agree with them. depending upon what your opinion is and whether or not it differs from them. If it differs, then probably have a conversation with them. You automatically become dominating without actually screaming or shouting or putting a point across. It's a very smart game. It is not about how much you talk. It's about how you show yourself as a mature leader or a mature team player. You don't have to be a leader at all. You can be a mature team player as well. You have to take everybody along with you. आपको अपनी बात रखनी है, but that is not the end of the story. That is not the end of the world. आपकी वो बात से agree कर रहे हैं कि नहीं? That is not the idea. Let me come to the conclusion part now. Like Shivam said, that during the conclusion, I'll just read that question again. All right, so there is a question. So if we put a counter too strongly, we often come out as arrogant. So arrogance is also a reflection of the tone that you're using. So if it's like a sarcastic tone and that kind of a tone where you're trying to sort of demean somebody and try to show yourself a little superior, you have that superiority complex, it's not going to work your way. But if you're countering by asking a counter question, that do you think it is the right thing? You are discussing it with somebody, you're talking to somebody, so you have to talk maturely. If your parents are talking to you, they won't be questioning you in a very demeaning manner. It's going to be in a very formal, in a very sweet manner. Or rather, even when your professors or your faculty members question you, cross-question you, it happens in a very mature and a formal manner. That's exactly how you have to behave. The moment you get into a dirty way of talking or a demeaning way or a sarcastic tone, that is where you actually lose out. And that is where you actually come off as somebody who's arrogant. And the moment I get a hint, I'm not going to question you. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to say, okay, this might be a one-odd incident. This is not how he or she would actually behave. Otherwise, it's not going to work. You lost your turn. So it'll be very, very smart, very, very mature, very, very calm. How do we address the other participants in a group discussion? Priyanka, that's a good question. Fellow participants, fellow group members, that is something that you can say. My friends is something that you can say. Team members, you can say. Please don't use the word delegate. I don't know why some people use delegates as a word. That is not. And guys, to bilkul bhi nahi bolna. Guys, please listen. Guys, please don't create a fish market. Guys, please. ये तो बोलना ही नहीं है, right? You will not be using the word guys. Yeah. Somebody had turned the microphone on. Probably a question. All right. So let me now come to the conclusion part, and that is why Shivam had a question. So the conclusion is presented meticulously can get some extra points, right? So all right. So I'll tell you how this happens. At some point of time, do we also address the moderator? At no point of time. भूल जाओ moderator को. Moderator की तरफ तो देखना ही नहीं है. The moderator is there to observe 10 people. You will not observe the moderator at all. At all. It's a no-no. And now 10 times the moderator will also tell you that please do not look at me. The moderator will be making notes. The moderator will be looking at your body language, will be judging you on the basis of how you behave. There could be somebody else talking, but the moderator could be looking at somebody else. And the moderator does not want a third person to be continuously making or trying to make eye contact or to be looking at what he's doing, he or she's doing. Forget the moderator. It will add to your benefit. All right. So yes, coming back to Shivam's point. Now, when you conclude, it's important that you bring everything together. Now, I'll give an example. Usually what happens is, on an average, it's a 10-minute group discussion. All right. It might get extended by a couple of minutes, but it's usually a 10-minute group discussion, 8 for discussion and 2 for conclusion. Now, more often than not, you will not have a consensus on the topic because that's exactly what it's for. And 10 people is very, very low probability that everybody has the same opinion. And that's how it works, which is fine. The point is that when you conclude, you have to now not talk about your opinion at all. अब opinion आपको अपना बताने के लिए 8 मिनट दे दिए थे. अब भूल जाओ. जो अगर आपने बोल दिया तो बोल दिया, नहीं बोला तो नहीं बोला. But now in these 2 minutes of the group discussion which are left, you will now be summing up what everybody spoke about. You will be saying that we had an interesting view by a fellow participant, a fellow team member who spoke on the do's and don'ts or the negative side of introducing electric vehicles. On the other hand, we had this gentleman who spoke about the positives of it. I'm just giving an example. And you just weigh them and you say that although we could not come to a consensus, but the group discussion was a fruitful discussion. And we had a fruitful discussion. And I'm sure that we won't be forgetting this discussion for a long time. It's a very short and sweet conclusion. You just have to bring in points together. That there was a difference in opinion, you accept it. Again, you are not being judged on whether or not you came to a consensus or not. Your recruiters are going to remember your faces, or the recruiters are going to remember what happened. It's just in those 10 minutes that you have to put your point across and come off as somebody who's a potential recruitment for an organization. आप एक group में behave कैसे करोगे, आपको बस वो दिखाना है. If you want to fake it till you make it. It's important, it is doable, it is possible. If it is in your nature and that is how you behave, you will never have to fake it, and you will just do it so beautifully, so calmly, flawlessly. But it is possible to fake it as well, and you will have to fake it till you make it, because the idea is to crack the group discussion. And that is where these things come in. So you cannot, at that given point of time, question your opinion or allow somebody else to even question or to put in their opinion. So if somebody else begins to say that, but I still feel that this is what should happen, then very calmly, you can then tell them that, all right, sir, I think we had our time to discuss and it's time to conclude. Let's keep our opinions and differences in opinion aside and let's come to a consensus, which of course it is not happening, but I still feel that the group discussion was a fruitful one. Very simple, very calmly, and that is when you then look at the recruiter, that boss, it's done from my side. All right, there is an interesting question, I guess. If I'm an introvert person, how to speak up in a group of 10 plus people whom I don't know? Karthik Seni, if you could just tell me your background, आप कौन से कॉलेज से हैं, अगर आप स्कूल से हैं, क्या कोर्स कर रहे हैं, कौन सी क्लास में हैं, कौन से ईयर में हैं, जल्दी जल्दी बता दो मेरे को. Very, very quickly, I'm not moving forward. I just need your answer on this. Which course, class, year, background क्या है आपका? Very, very quickly, Karthik. You're a 12th pass out, Karthik. Beautiful, wonderful. So Karthik, you have 3 years to work on this. 3 years. Somebody who's an introvert, commerce with maths, fair enough, fair enough. You have 3 years to become an extrovert, an outright extrovert. अगर आपको अभी 10 लोगों से बात करने में झिझक हो रही है, आप 3 साल बाद 250 लोगों के साथ बात कर सकते हो, आंखें बंद करके. That is the kind of growth that you can have. It will happen over a period of time. And the only solution to this is to get into college society. So the moment you get into a college society, into a college, and you get your admission, look for college societies and get into them. Start talking to them. You will then, अब वो एक झिझक आपके अंदर से निकलेगी, you will then be interacting with the larger group on a daily basis, and you will start getting comfortable with them over a period of time. And that is when you actually start becoming an extrovert. For those of you who have been a part of any college society, I'm sure can relate with this. It happens over a period of time. आप रातों रात 10 लोगों के साथ ऐसे बात करने नहीं लग जाओगे. But I can vouch for it. I can assure you that if you're a part of a college society, if you have the attitude to talk to people, कि मुझे जानना है, मुझे बात करनी है लोगों के साथ, then 3 साल में आप 300 लोगों के साथ बात कर सकते हो. 10 लोग तो बहुत ही छोटा नंबर आप बता रहे हो. So I hope that you make the most of your college years. And yes, all right. So there is somebody who agrees with me. College societies really help. I can vouch for it. I can vouch for it. So that is my answer to your question. There is no jadoo tona, there is no formula for this कि आज आपको बात नहीं करनी आ रही और कल आपने कुछ करके आए हो and you are now talking to 10 people. Not going to happen. It will happen over a period of time and you have enough time for it. You're not sitting for a group discussion tomorrow. You will be sitting for a group discussion 2 years, 3 years down the line, and you need to know that then. And you'll be far more than prepared for it. All right. So yes, I spoke about the conclusion part as well. Conclusion is very, very important. Concluding on a very, all right. So there is a question. How much of an impact does being a founder has on the interviewer? All right. Well, it depends on what kind of an organization. All right, fair enough. I'm glad that you clarified that. I was going in a different direction. Yes, it will have an impact. Why? Because you have come out of your comfort zones, your zone. You have led the way. All right, for a startup, it's going to be a different ball game altogether. So I'll be talking about that in a bit. For a college society, you have created something. You have actually initiated something which never existed before. You have dealt with college authorities because college authorities के through ही आपको वो चीज़ existence में लानी पड़ेगी, and that's a task, especially in Delhi University, to deal with college authorities. Faculty members can be very nasty at times. To create a team, so you'll be team building, you will be an HR in your own way. You will have to do initial graphic design, perhaps creating a memorandum of understanding with the entire college, getting people on board, gaining their trust, pretty much bringing people together and being a people's person. You cannot start a venture all by yourself and say that I am the only person in this group. That's not how it works. And that is what a recruiter is going to love. Love it. Why? Because you've been self-motivated, you have faced challenges, and you have created something out of nothing, being a college student. It may not be a monetary, it may not be giving you revenue, but the fact that you have done something all by yourself is a huge plus point as compared to a startup. Now, a startup, if you're a founder of a startup already in college, it depends on what kind of a startup it is. Is it a registered startup or is it just an Instagram page that you're talking about? Big difference. I'll tell you why. I'll talk about it legally. If it is a founder of a startup which has a GST number, has a legal entity, is existing legally, then your PAN card is also named, it's also connected to that, because then you have a bank account, etc., etc. Most of the organizations, the bigger organizations, they have a disclosure where you cannot be an employee of or a founder or any other, or be basically an employee of any other organization at the same time, irrespective of whether it's of the same industry or whatever, irrespective of that. So if it is, then it's better not to disclose that till the time they don't find it out, right? But do not disclose it. That is for sure. If the moment you say that I'm the founder of this, this is my GST number, यार आप एक कंपनी में उसके CEO हो और यहाँ पे आपको एक टीम का एक हिस्सा बनना है, contradiction. It's not going to work. आपका obviously ध्यान आपके स्टार्टअप पे ज्यादा होगा. I am employing you. आप मेरे लिए काम करने वाले हो, मेरे साथ काम करें. वहां पे आप खुद के लिए काम कर रहे हो. So it's not going to work. Yes, an Instagram page, fine. More than happy to have it. करते रहो, कोई issue नहीं है. Keep it on. You have passion, you have everything. Startup is going to create an issue for you. Till the time it's not recognized by the company. How do we keep a discussion civil in a GD? Participants at times end up shouting. We can neither not speak because we have to present a point, nor shout like others. Nobody's asking you to shout, Harivansh. Absolute. Also, Karthik, yes, leadership qualities help a lot. It's all about leadership qualities. So Harivansh, it is not going to, you will not be shouting at all. Even if they're shouting for, let's say, 120 seconds straight, that's like 2 minutes, they're just continuously blabbering. Try to calm the situation down. Don't start putting a point across in between something. First, get them back to level 0. Get the decibel level to 0. And then put a point across. Do not shout. Do not add to that fish market. In no situation. इसका मतलब अगर 2 लोग आपकी बात नहीं सुन रहे हैं तो फिर आप भी चलने लग जाओगे. यही मतलब हुआ ना इसका. It's just, so you know what is testing? A pilot test क्या होता है कि आप एक छोटे ग्रुप में उस चीज को टेस्ट करोगे कि वो बड़े ग्रुप में काम करेगा नहीं करेगा. This is a pilot test of you and your behavior in a group. What kind of society would you recommend to join, as in dance, music, society, or entrepreneurship? Absolutely not. Shivam, you can join any society, any number of societies you're interested in. College is all about passion. It's all about exploring. You have to be doing that. It will be justified at the end of the day. There is no, I cannot be passionate about it, be productive, be efficient with them, try to manage them, try to grow as an individual. That's it, irrespective of which society it is. Dance, music, sports, irrespective of which society that is. So that was your group discussion. Group discussions are the first hurdle that you have to cross, and understandably why, because it's so important that I know that how you're behaving in an organization. All right, perfect. Do you get an advantage if you are doing something for the society, like a part of that society, all right, a part of an NGO or something? You will, Priyanka, you definitely will, because um, it's very important to stay grounded, give back something to the society. And when you're in the metro cities and tier 1, tier 2 cities, automatically this generation has this full of themselves feeling, which actually takes them away from the society. So if you're showing some form of social work, some form of an NGO establishment, or volunteering in any of the societies, even in college, it's always going to have a plus point. Even if it's for like 6 months or a year, the impact has to also be shown. So what was your impact while you were there? Were you able to actually benefit the society in some way or the other? Is also something you have to justify. It can't be कि मैंने एक book collection drive में मैंने part लिया और that's the end of it. So yeah, you'll have to justify your presence there. All right, so we're moving on to the personal interview part, and a personal interview is something that is very easy to crack. It's much easier to crack than a group discussion. Very, very easy to crack. Only if you know how to crack it, understandably. Now, I am going to say one thing, and I want everybody to just pay attention to what I'm going to say and write it down. Write it down, read it, analyze it, visualize it, and visualize several forms of variations of this line. कि ये चीज क्या हो सकती है, आप इस सिचुएशन में होगे तो क्या करोगे. So please hear this out properly, please. A personal interview is nothing but a date. It's a date with somebody who you haven't seen before, who you're meeting for the first time professionally, and with somebody who is expecting you and probably knows something about you through your resume. It's a date, and the outcome of the date should be that you would want to see each other once again. That's it. इस चीज को लिख लो, रोज पढ़ो, analyze and visualize it. I'm not leaving you on this. I will be explaining this. What happens on a date? You go out with a girl, you go out with a boy, depending upon your orientation. You dress up well, you smell well, you talk properly, you show friendly gestures, you are not full of yourself, or rather should not be full of yourself. You tell all the positives about yourself. You keep a smiling face, you keep yourself interested, show confidence, not overconfidence. You basically put your best foot forward. You want the other person to be impressed by you in a very subtle manner. That is exactly what an interview is. And the outcome of this interview, of this interaction, is that you would want to see each other once again. So the interviewer would want to meet you once again. The moment that happens, you're selected. Because the interviewer is there to recruit somebody for the organization and would obviously see that person in the organization and not separately or privately. So it's important to give that vibe, to have that exchange in vibe, to come off as somebody who is beneficial for the organization, who can add value to the team, who's the right candidate, who's professional in their own way, who has done certain things during the college time to have come across as somebody who can add value to the company. If you are a part of a college society, you have done HR, marketing, finance, you have spoken to clients, you have dealt with Microsoft Excel sheets, presentations, you have spoken to large gatherings, you have done event management, you have managed finances. दुनिया भर की चीजें आपने करी हैं. And if you put it across in the right manner, that I carry those traits, I carry those skills that will obviously benefit the company in some way or the other in the role that I'm doing, the recruiter will definitely want to meet you again. So it's the vibe. You will always keep a smiling face. You will obviously discuss very, very calmly. You will obviously have to use the English language. You cannot be talking in Hindi. That is a limitation today because eventually the clients that you will be talking with will also be talking in English. So it's important that you know that you have good command over English, which is very, very important. You are okay with accepting a mistake. So you're okay with not giving an answer to a question. So you just say, and I'm sorry, sir, I do not think I am. I don't think I know the answer to this question. So that openness, the honesty is also very important. So whenever you share your resume, whenever that recruiter is going through your resume, that the recruiter is also going to ask you a lot of questions about your work experience. And your work experience will include these college societies and these experiences which you've had. And you have to talk a lot about it. How did it benefit you? And how is it going to eventually benefit the organization? उसका outcome क्या था? आपके वहां पे रहने से क्या मिला? All right, sir, got it and also experienced it. As while giving Symbiosis personal interview, we had a proper discussion on the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and as a result, interview extended by 15 minutes. Absolutely. So Rich Dad Poor Dad. So Symbiosis, all right. So Symbiosis में आप एक interview दे रहे थे, which means that you were there to get admission in Symbiosis. Now, getting an admission in Symbiosis, I don't know, Pune or Noida, had nothing to do with Rich Dad Poor Dad. All right. This book it's lying on my bookshelf. It's an amazing book for those of you who want to understand what finance is and how to manage your money. But the fact that so the fact that you were talking about something off topic entirely was the vibe that you exchanged. You are saying 15 minutes. There are interviews which have gone on for an hour and a half. And you're just so casually talking to each other as if, you just met somebody so amazing and you're just talking and you just don't want to leave the conversation. That is exactly what it is. The moment you get conscious, the moment you get nervous, the moment you are hesitant, you're just answering what is being asked. It is not giving that vibe. It is not giving the recruiter that vibe. Recruiter क्यों लेगा आपको? क्योंकि कब अगर आपको एक चीज ऐसे बता दी गई या एक क्लाइंट के साथ सडनली बात करने को दे दिया गया, आप तो घबरा जाओगे. To interact with somebody for the first time, you'll not be able to interact. Let alone your certification, let alone your work experience. How is it's going to be a negative side for my company? I'm recruiting you as my responsibility. I hope I'm making sense. There is somebody who just said that now Symbiosis has nothing to do with that Rich Dad Poor Dad book. But the fact that you vibe will get selected. It just shows that you're okay with talking. And Rich Dad Poor Dad is a book, so which means you're intellectually, you're aware of a book, you've read that book, you're good with finance, you want to understand finance. Shows your approach in life. Kya dikkat hai? That's exactly what this date is all about. So you dress well, you smell well, you keep a smiling face, you're not too full of yourself. You also one very important question which was also asked. How do you introduce yourself? How do you talk about yourself? The first question is, tell me something about yourself. Date पे भी ऐसे ही होता है. So yeah, tell me something about yourself. होता है, बिल्कुल होता है. So what do you say? You first start, and I want you to write it down. Your resume, your LinkedIn profile will always be from latest to oldest. So the most recent thing that you have done to the most the oldest thing that you have done. That's basically what I mean to say. When you're telling something about yourself, you'll be doing it in the reverse chronology. You'll be telling something about yourself from the oldest part of your life that you can recall. So you start from where are you from? Which city are you from? What is your family background like? Is it an army background? Is it a business background? Is it is your family full of academicians? Are you into teaching, etc., etc.? What is your family background like? Very, very quickly, आप एक या दो sentences बोलना. This is what my family background is. I'm from so and so city. What is it? So where did you do your schooling from? Your class 10, your class 12. At times, people change a lot of schools. Mention that. क्या दिक्कत है? You mention that. Back in school, what was their attitude like? How were you as a kid? How were you? Were you actively participating in school societies, in school competition, inter-school competition, sports? Mention that. क्या दिक्कत है? You've done that. Mention it. You've come out of your comfort zone. You've not been a bookworm throughout, irrespective of your percentage. Mention that. Very, very quickly, you then move on to your college societies, your college life. You got into BCom honors, you got into BMS, you got into Eco honors with an approach of learning into this field, creating a career out of it. You started off in the first year, second year, you got into so-and-so college society. Probably you may or may not be in that society now, but even if you are, mention that. Even if you aren't, mention that. If you are, what has the impact been like? What has your experience been like? What were the extracurricular activities like? What all have you been up to? What are the soft skills that you have developed? Have you grown more confident as a person? Say that. And I can assure you must have. If you have been a part of a college society, you definitely would have. You would have been a better orator, a person with a better command over English, more confident, dealing with so many people on a daily basis. You could be a part of a college society. You must have done so many projects. You must have been a part of many organizing teams for a lot of events, fests. College departments के fest होते हैं, college fest होते हैं, inter college competitions होते हैं, inter university competitions होते हैं. Say that. And I've grown up I've actually outperformed myself in many ways, and I'm sitting here as a very confident person. That's it. Active interests. All right. How can we include our active interest in the interview? For we can't tell about ourselves in a brief introduction. Actually, you can, Khushi. So very quickly, you can mention if your interest. Let's say you like to cycle, right? Firstly, don't mention your likes, your interest, and your hobbies in your resume, please. आपके resume में ये सारी चीजें नहीं जाएंगी. आप जब इंटरव्यू में बात करेंगे तब जरूर करेंगे जिसके बारे में बात. Very quickly, like also off topic, I love to go to the gym. What's wrong in that? Nothing wrong in that. I love to do calisthenics, body weight training. That is something I do. I love to dance. What's wrong in that? Resume पे वो नहीं जाएगा because resume का purpose कुछ और होता है. Interview के time पे you can definitely mention that. Not too much about it, but yeah, on and off. I love to go for a morning run at 5 a.m. in the morning. I love to do that. That's it. It's very simple. It's not going to hamper the interview because there's no clash of interest. That's what tell me something about yourself means. You start from your origin, your family backgrounds, your schooling, your college, your experiences in college, and where you are today. That is what it is. That is exactly what it is. There is a question. Yes, sir, please.
Sir, I have a doubt. Sir, I asked my seniors, and they said that when you are getting recruited, the ones who get placed are the ones who actually give out a vibe to their recruiters that we are going to be your future employees. So how do you really, create that level of ease? And in order to give that vibe, how do you frame like what your body language should be, your eyes, eye movements, your body posture? Because they are not our pals, they're not our friends. We're meeting them for the first time. In fact, we are all very hesitant and we are scared because it's our interview and it's important if we want to get placed. So how do we really create that level of ease, or for that matter, even if we are not that eased, just pretend to be, be like that. So how do we exactly do that?
Sure. Yeah, there's somebody else who wants to add something.
Sir, on the same note, adding to Harivansh's point, at times, as a student mentioned, that how do introverts deal with interviews? Because, like, for an extrovert person, you can easily vibe with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But for introverts, it gets difficult, and especially if the vibing leads to you getting a place in their company, so that becomes
Right.
kind of essential. and it gets out of the comfort zone, and of course the person cannot adapt to that particular environment in just a matter of 10 minutes or 5 minutes.
Right.
So
All
how
right,
do
fair enough. So I'll actually you'll actually find the answer to this question in the answer which I gave for Harivansh's question. So the question which Harivansh has asked is more specific, more rather technical in terms of what should be your body language in terms of eye movement, eye gestures, etc., etc. So at any given point of time, you will not be considering the recruiter to be your friend. All right, you will not be using the word guys, bro. You won't get casual with that person at any given point of time. It's just a vibe that you share, which becomes a positive vibe. And one of the major reasons or the major aspects behind that vibe is your smile, the ease with which the time lag that you have between answering a question and first hearing the question and then answering a question. Are you spontaneous? Are you going in a different zone and then answering? Are you smiling while answering the question? Are you maintaining eye contact while answering that question? Are you also giving a smile while probably not knowing the answer to a question? Are you okay with accepting that? That is the vibe which I'm talking about. And that is going to reflect. So in terms of eye movement, in terms of hand gestures, like I said, even during the group discussion, it cannot be too much, but a little bit of hand gestures definitely required. In terms of eye movement, you definitely have to look at the person right in the eye. थोड़ा सा इधर उधर आप देख सकते हो, जरूर देख सकते हो. Now, to answer Khushi's question, how does an introvert outrightly crack an interview? Trust me when I say this, it's very difficult. And I wish I had an answer to this. There is no formula that you apply to this. It's just those things. If you, even as an introvert, if you have this thing in your head, it's not that you can't vibe with people. If you still have this thing in your head, the first thing that an introvert should be doing is to practice giving interviews. If it is your first interview as an introvert, you're not going to crack it. There's no way you can crack it. Absolutely no way. And I'm not going to give you false hopes for that. I mean business. I'm telling you, you will not crack an interview if you're giving it for the first time and you're an introvert, because you will not know exactly, you're getting up to that position for the first time. You have no experience as to what an interview looks like, what are the kind of questions, what is the atmosphere around it. It's going to get very, very difficult. I mean it. The second thing which I want to say is that if you are an introvert, it's important that you practice giving mock interviews. Practice giving mock interviews. You cannot ratify that these are the things that I have to do to crack an interview, and I will crack it. It's an experience. It's an experience between two people, and it's not a formula. And when I said there was another question that I'm an introvert and what are the things that I should be doing, the reason why I said that you'd have to, it happens over a period of time is because it happens over a period of time. You cannot become an extrovert overnight. You cannot be in a different frame of mind. Remember, being an introvert is not a frame of mind, it's a state of mind. You change a state of mind over a period of time. You change a frame of mind overnight, every hour, every minute. But to become an extrovert from an introvert, it's going to take time. It's going to take those kind of experiences for you to become comfortable. So when you say that an introvert is in an uncomfortable situation, what are the things that he or she should be doing to become comfortable? There's no formula to that. Till the time you don't experience it. Your first interview, anybody giving the first interview would have failed. Why? Because you don't know how it works. It happens over. So that is where your mock interviews come in. That is where your mock group discussions come in. So when I train, I'll give you an example. It's a very good question you've asked. So when it's not that I don't train introverts. We have a lot of introverts on our team. We have, so the trainings which I do, there are a lot of extroverts as well. There are a lot of ambiverts as well, but a lot of introverts too. And we actually pay a lot of attention to those introverts. And the number of mock interviews that they give is actually almost 50% more than an extrovert would be given with us. So if an extrovert is giving, let's say, 10 interviews as mock interviews as a part of their pack, an introvert will be giving around 15 to 16. Because they have to be completely bombarded with 15 to 16 experiences, and every experience is going to be a different experience. Something asked in one interview may not have been asked in the second one, or vice versa. Not asked in the first one is now asked in the second one. So it's the experience that you have to gain. So to answer your question, an introvert tomorrow cannot go and just say that this is my first interview and I'm going to crack it. It happens over a period of time. And this is where college societies play a very important role. Your sports play a very important role. Mock interviews and mock group discussions play a very important role. That's how it works. I hope I answered your question. I mean, no offense at all. It is what it is. Yeah. So that's pretty much about an interview. I really wish we had another session on probably resume writing or stuff like that, because a lot is asked from your work experience. Your work experience is priority and your work experience basically means the kind of work that you've done in college societies as well. So for those of you who are getting out of school, your target for the first year, your second year, and your third year is to get into a college society and stay there for 3 years. That is your aim. If you're in your second year, you have 2 years to do that. If you're in your third year, you have 1 year to do that, probably even less than a year to do that. That is where the impact is. That is where the difference is. The recruiter wants to know about this organization of yours. जब आप एक company के अंदर होते, there was a question that you're starting an organization. You're starting a college society. It's a startup. It's an unregistered startup inside a college. You get it registered through college societies, through your college administration. You create a team. You have a faculty in charge. You have to find that faculty in charge. You have to create that vibe so that you and the faculty is on the same page. अगर आप दोनों के बीच में ही नहीं बनेंगे तो फिर वो साइन भी नहीं करेंगे आधी चीजों पे. There are funds which have to be taken care of. So there's a treasurer, there's marketing involved because of social media marketing. There's an Instagram page to be managed. That Instagram page needs content. A content writer, content team has to be put into a graphic design. So graphic designer has to be there. A video editor has to be there. How will you find it? Through HR. You recruit them. You take out a poster, ask for them to apply. You then go through their work. You take their interviews. You then select or reject them. You post the list on the board the next day. There are finances to be managed. There are outsiders that have to come in. Event planning comes into the picture. You talk to outsiders. You write them formal mails. This is nothing but a startup. This is nothing but an organization. And these are the skills that you will eventually be doing in the company you get recruited for, at a larger scale, of course, and in a more specific place. But the fact that you have the attitude, the multitasking skills, and the approach, the professional approach in life, because trust me, what is the percentage of people who get into college societies? Less than 10%. Most of them are just wasting time. They're okay with being in those groups. जो भेड़ चाल हम कहते हैं, they are okay with their groups. They are going out chilling or just studying in a corner. It's not going to benefit them either, because they are just becoming introverts in their own way. You have to be an extrovert. And this is where you actually become an extrovert. This is where you start talking, interacting with people, etc., etc. So get into your college societies. Your interview is going to be based on a lot of things that you do in your college society. The things that you learn eventually will show up during your interview. Remember, it's about the vibe. If you come out of that interview smiling, you know that if the recruiter is happy, wishes you all the very best, gives you a smile, gives you a nice handshake, a firm handshake, you know you have cracked it. That's exactly how it is. I really wish I was there to conduct a mock interview and tell you where you can go wrong and where you probably will go wrong. But yeah, nonetheless, that's it from my side. Yes, there are a few questions. For colleges like CBS, where almost everyone is in a society, how does one stand out in that same space? All right, fair enough. Then, of course, it's about your experience and how you're able to justify your experience. I'm not saying that just because you're in a society, it's a differentiating factor. If everybody's in a society, then it's definitely not a differentiating factor. Then the differentiating factor becomes how have you differentiated in your own work. Of course, काम तो सबने different ही किया होगा, एक different zone होता है, impact सबका different रहा होगा. How have you actually improved or come off as a person comparing your third year and your first year, or the last day of your society and the first day of the society, and how you justify it? The impact that you have been able to bring. Were you a member in your first year and a member in your third year? Or were you a member in your first year and probably a joint secretary in your third year? Well, you can also show growth. That is where you differentiate. I hope I answered that question. All right. Any more questions? Feel free to drop it in the chat box. Otherwise, I don't see any more questions. So yeah, over to you, Khushi. All right, there is a question. Sir, how can one prepare for the interviews of the colleges like Sukhdev? So it's pretty much the same thing. What you will now require over here is, I think it's the same person who's asking the same question. All right, so let me just answer Tanvi's question, which is a good question. So it's like any other college interview. Firstly, keep that in mind. It's like any other college interview. Don't get panicked. Don't panic about the fact that it's perhaps one of the best colleges. Of course, it is the best business college in the country. But all right. Okay, so this is news to me, to be honest. Yes, you have the JAT, you have the joint admission test, which I am aware of. But I didn't know that this was in public knowledge that it takes some years. All right, I will need more clarity, Harivansh, if you can tell me whether it requires a PI or not.
So actually, they change their criteria every time. So this time, time we came
Okay.
in, it was 65 your entrance exam scores and 35 your class 12th exam. So we did not have our PI. However, 2 to 3 years back, they had a GDPI. They had a weightage. The entrance exam had a weightage, and the class 12th exams, of course. So there are chances that this year they might conduct a PI GD. So
okay, fair enough. So in any case, I'll explain it to you. Over there, then it's purely about how you have grown in terms of your schooling life, what your approach. Are you a budding professional? Are you a budding entrepreneur in your own way? Do you carry that professional attitude towards life, or are you just another bookworm? Because to be honest, the number of people applying and making the cutoff is actually too much as compared to those who actually make the cutoff, who make the cut eventually for those seats. I don't know how many seats are there, probably 60, 70, if I'm not wrong. I'm sorry?
so they're around 130. This time they increased after the general category, economic class that came in.
Fair enough. So fair enough. So 130, even if 150 we take, 150 out of I don't know how many people make the cutoff.
So more than around 30,000, more than 30,000, 40,000 people make the cutoff.
There you go. So these 30,000 people have had what 96, 97, 98% in the class 12 have cracked the JAT with I don't know what percentile or what score it is. 30,000 eventually boils down to what attitude and professional approach you have in life. It's as simple as that. Because everybody has, how do you differentiate? Then your approach comes in. So to prove, you have to justify the kind of activities you've been doing in school, where you want to take your life forward, how mature you are. So, people, colleges, especially, so they will obviously look for somebody who has reached a certain maturity at a very early age. If I'm not wrong, I'm pretty sure Khushi and Harivansh would agree with that. And if you're not, then that's a point of worry for me. But yes, it's a certain amount of maturity that you require at a very early age. So yes, that is going to be considered. Your schooling life, so part of how many MUNs, have you been a sports person, have you been a multitasker? I'm not saying that you have to be a head boy or a head girl, but you could have had some other school, union or council positions where you've been able to interact and make a difference. These are things that go in. So of course, it's a good question. Like I said, gives you an approach and understanding from the school's perspective, but ultimately it's your professional attitude and maturity which counts, which is also in any other case. So yeah, I feel there was another question. Should you have a certificate as a validation for your skill, or just posing the skill is enough? So Priyanka, it completely depends on what kind of skill you're talking about. If it's a technical skill, which is it's a part of the criteria that you have to match for a job opportunity, and you must have the documentation, which is the certificate for that. Otherwise, not required if it's not mentioned in the criteria. For example, a graphic designer needs to show more of work than to show a certificate. Until unless it says that you must be a certified graphic designer with Adobe Illustrator. Just an example. There, your pure skill will not count and the certification will have no value. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, over to you, Khushi. I think the questions have dried out.
Okay, so we would like to thank you for joining us today and giving this amazing presentation on how to go about the group discussions and personal interviews.
I hope you have taken
hope
screenshots
all
of
the
session.
questions. I hope we
Yes,
have
sir.
we are
Yes,
over
sir,
with
yeah.
the questions. I hope we're over with the questions, and we would like to thank you for sharing such immense knowledge with us. For a lot of kids here don't know how to go about a lot of things in general. So thank you for enlightening us, sir. And we would really appreciate you being there for another of our webinar and collaborating in future. Thank you, sir.
Surely. Thank you, Khushi. Thank you for firstly inviting me. Thank you, Harivansh. I think so. Harivansh is a part of Shahid Sukhdev, and I had a session in Shahid Sukhdev, and I think that's why we got connected.
Yes, sir.
And I think he's done a great job by starting Baywise, again, on need of the hour. Wishing you all the very best. Thank you. I'm getting a lot of comments. Really appreciate that. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having this organized, and wishing you all the very best for the remaining 2 sessions.
Thank you so much.
Perfect.
We
all
would
the
like
best.
to
Take care. Yeah.
Yes.
So sorry.
We would like to inform everyone that we will be sharing the PPT and assignment about the same, and the best answers we'll be featuring on our social media handles of those assignments. It's just a way to assess how much we have learned in this session. Thank you so
Wonderful.
much.
That's actually a pretty interesting concept. Yeah. All the best, Harivansh. All the best, Khushi. Take care, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.